This is your WGBW Daily News Roundup for the Talk of Green Bay, 97.9 FM and 1590 AM.
Civic Media News. I'm Terry Bell. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. Police in Two Rivers say they're getting more tips and information about a missing 3-year-old boy since the FBI offered a $15,000 reward. Volunteer searchers combed several areas around Manitowoc County yesterday. Elijah Vu has been missing since Tuesday of last week. His grandmother made an emotional plea at a press conference this week.
I want my grandson to be home, raise my family. So I want everybody to continue. Don't stop.
His mother and her boyfriend are in jail on child neglect charges. There's a $15,000 reward for information that helps find Elijah. Wisconsin's new district boundaries are causing a shakeup in the state legislature. The Journal-Sentinel finds a handful of Republican lawmakers will face more Democratic voters. One of the Senate's most powerful Republicans is in a new, more blue district. That's Howard Markline, the co-chair of the Joint Finance Committee. The city of Janesville is planning to buy the site of the former GM plant to try to revive development there. The plant was closed in 2008 and demolished 10 years later. All that's there now is 250 acres of concrete debris and contaminated soil. City officials say they'll spend the next year gathering information and community input. A conservative law firm is asking the universities of Wisconsin to end their race-based awards and fellowships. The Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty claims the Board of Regents' 2024 Diversity Awards are unconstitutional because they leave some students out. Will says the UW is ignoring a U.S. Supreme Court ruling to end race-based programs. More electric buses are on the road in Wisconsin. Susan Mudd is an advocate with the Environmental Law and Policy Center.
Riders on buses, including the drivers, will experience zero tailpipe emissions, which they now do because fumes unfortunately often get recirculated.
She admits charging stations for buses require more infrastructure than for cars.
It definitely requires more equipment, may require transformer upgrades, and that is more costly.
Wisconsin got more than $25 million in federal support 2 years ago to replace 65 diesel school buses with electric ones. Mudd's group is asking utilities to help build charging stations for schools and bus companies. Vehicles have overtaken power plants as America's largest source of carbon emissions. I'm Terry Bell, Civic Media News. Now here's what you need to know closer to home.
For WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. Former Green Bay School Superintendent Claude Tiller Jr. will receive more than $250,000 as part of his resignation agreement from the district. The agreement, released after open records requests from 2 Green Bay television stations, states both sides agreed not to make any disparaging comments about the other. Any violation of the clause could result in a $50,000 fine for either side. Meanwhile, the Green Bay School District is closing the book on reinstating Tiller to his position of superintendent. In a statement released last night, the district said Tiller was provided the opportunity to change his mind and rescind his resignation. He did not do so. Quote, "The window to have this conversation has closed. We're now moving forward with discussing the process for identifying and selecting the district's next superintendent." Tiller resigned when he was put on administrative leave while the school board investigated comments he made on an Atlanta radio show. Oshkosh residents will pay $35 a year per vehicle and will see an increase in water, sanitary sewer, and storm sewer costs after Common Council action last night. An ordinance to raise almost $4 million annually to fund road and sidewalk reconstruction was approved. Oshkosh residents will start paying the new vehicle registration fee starting July 1st. Residents and businesses can discuss the proposed closure of the Main Street Bridge in Oshkosh during an online session tonight. A public comment Q&A session will follow the live presentation. The Department of Transportation estimates that the project for structural, mechanical, and electrical improvements could take up to 8 months to complete, during which the bridge will be closed. For a link to the online meeting, you can visit wisconsindot.gov and search for Main Street Bridge, Oshkosh. Voters in the 90th State Assembly District will elect a new representative this fall. Democrat State Representative Christina Shelton of Green Bay announces that she will not seek re-election. In a statement, Shelton says she wants to devote more time to her family and professional goals outside of the state assembly. Shelton was first elected to the assembly in 2020. People walking through downtown Kaukauna will see a big change to the alley and vacant lots between 2nd and 3rd Streets. The city is bringing paved boardwalks, seating, planters, and new lighting to the area in an attempt to bring more pedestrian activity to downtown. Work on the project begins in April and will finish by the end of the summer. Folks that visit the Buboltz Nature Preserve in Appleton will not be able to use the lodge, which is also known as the Nature Center, through Monday. The preserve says staff illnesses, including but not limited to COVID and the flu, are the reason for the temporary closure. Visitors can still use the trails and outdoor spaces. The lodge will open with open arms and healthy smiles Tuesday, March 5th. It'll be easier for people to get to the upper level of the KI Convention Center if Brown County funds a request from a tourism group. Discover Green Bay is asking for $1 million to add the escalator to the split-level convention hall. CEO Brad Toll claims Green Bay has lost out on some conventions and events because the KI lacks an escalator. The group is requesting a part of the $3 million in tourism grants that Brown County will be awarding this spring. And that's what you need to know. I'm Lisa Hale, WGBW News.
We are going to warm things up rather quickly as we head into the weekend. Today, it'll be mostly sunny with a high right around 35. Our wind out of the southwest at 10 to 20 today. Clear tonight, 31. Tomorrow, sunshine 50. By Saturday, 58. On Sunday, partly cloudy with a high near 60. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Outside right now, it's 12.
The Packers restructure a player's contract. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports reporting from the NFL Combine in Indianapolis. The Packers, here meeting with players' agents, have made a deal with linebacker Preston Smith to pay him more with incentives, but save $2 million off their salary cap. What other changes on defense? I spoke to Packers GM Brian Gutekunst.
Not a ton. I think, this league's a 4-2-5 nickel league, but those conversations will be had over the next few weeks.
NBA, the Bucks in Charlotte to play the Hornets again. Milwaukee looking to go 4-0 after the All-Star break. Doc Rivers says they're doing better each day defensively.
I think our guys, playing both ends is exhausting, and it was taken away from our offense a little bit. I think their conditioning is starting to catch up. You can see that. Defensively, the last 3-4 games we've been terrific. So this team, because you have a Giannis on your team, if you can get stopped, you can get in transition. Giannis in transition is a problem for everybody.
Baseball, the Brewers with a 6-1 loss to the Cubs. But the crew auditioned 10 different pitchers, including J.J. Bukauskas, who struck out all 3 batters he faced. He's only given up 1 hit in camp so far. Brewers manager Pat Murphy on seeing Craig Counsell in a Cubs uniform for the first time.
It's weird seeing him in those colors, but that's what reality is right now. Move on. But yeah, every time we see each other, it'll be exchange pleasantries, but we're both worried about getting our club ready to play the regular season.
College hoops, the Badgers are back, getting ready to host number 13th ranked Illinois Saturday at noon at the Kohl Center. Marquette trounced Providence 91-69, but one of the Golden Eagles' best players, Tyler Kolek, had to leave the game. Head coach Shaka Smart.
Tyler, don't know exactly the extent of his injury, but he went out there. You guys saw he wasn't able to stay in the game, so he's getting checked out right now.
It's an oblique injury for Tyler?
Looks like it. Something in that area.
That's Marquette head coach Shaka Smart. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
I'm Pete with the 60-second Showbiz Beat. Are you curious to see what a Liam Neeson movie where they don't threaten his family looks like? Your wish has been granted. The action star will play the lead in a reboot of the film Naked Gun next summer. The original Naked Gun from the files of Police Squad was written and produced by a trio of Wisconsinites, including the Zucker brothers and Jim Abrams. The film was released in 1988 and starred Leslie Nielsen. The Naked Gun reboot is set for release July 18th, 2025. In somewhat famous person news, Carmen Electra has legally changed her name to Carmen Electra. The actress told the Today Show recently that her real name is Tara Lee Patrick. She says while auditioning for a Prince project, he looked at her and said, "You're not a Tara, you're a Carmen." Then later told her Electra should be her name. Of course, she took his advice. The man is a genius. But frankly, any of those are better than Mrs. Dennis Rodman. Kevin Costner has revealed why he walked away from Yellowstone. Yahoo News reports that Costner has been working on a passion project 30 years in the making called Horizon. The story is set between 1861 and 1865 during the Civil War. The actor said the biggest challenge has been getting financing. The project will hit theaters, but in 4 separate installments. The first film will hit screens June 28th and the second August 16th. The final 2 films have not been shot yet. It might sound like a lot, but you can sit and watch all 4 of these films in a row, and they would not seem as long as The Postman. Keanu Reeves is a bad guy. Not a bad guy, a bad guy. Reeves plays a very different role than his John Wick character in the upcoming Southern Gothic thriller The Gift. Keanu plays Donnie Barksdale, a ruthless racist stalker who is trying to ruin the life of a psychic played by Cate Blanchett. There's no official release date yet for The Gift. Also, there's a bomb on the bus. In an appearance on Joe Rogan's podcast, trust fund kid Robert James Ritchie, also known as Kid Rock, cleared the air about his feud with Bud Light after the company used Dylan Mulvaney, a trans influencer, in a Bud Light ad. Rogan asked the tough question, what's it like being the dude that took out Bud Light? Robert James says he was just having fun when he fired a gun at several cases of Bud Light, none of which were armed and therefore not fighting back. Gutsy. It kind of bothers me that I like the song Picture. If you can't get enough Taylor and Travis, be sure to check out TMZ's special, Taylor and Travis, The Ultimate Love Story. The New York Post reports that Dr. Phil weighs in on the famous couple's relationship, surmising that if they don't take time out from their busy schedules to spend time together, it could harm their relationship. So basically, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's relationship has the same issues every couple raising 3 kids and working multiple jobs has. Brilliant insights, Doctor. For more showbiz fun, tune into Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, every night between 7 and 9 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
That's your WGBW Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at WGBW.FM.